Good morning. I'm sorry that I'm not able to be with you in person today due to the time difference. While you're watching this, I'll probably be asleep. I'm very grateful though that I've been given the opportunity to speak to you at the Australian Wind Energy Conference. The Scottish Government is always keen to engage across borders to foster collaboration and knowledge sharing, and today I'll talk about the ambitions for our offshore sector, supporting new technologies in offshore wind and the offshore wind supply chain. Scotland already proudly leads the way in onshore wind deployment across the UK. And as of December 2023, we have 9.5 gigawatts of operational onshore wind capacity in Scotland. However, we want to go much further, and we've set an ambition for 20 gigawatts of installed capacity by 2030. Scotland's offshore wind pipeline is even more ambitious. ScotWind is the world's largest commercial round for floating offshore wind and reflects very significant market ambition for offshore wind in Scottish waters, around 28 gigawatts across 20 projects. The INTOG leasing round could also potentially add a further 5.5 gigawatts of green energy, including 449 megawatts for innovation projects and 5 gigawatts for targeted oil and gas decarbonisation, all of which are floating offshore wind projects. Although we want to encourage ambition within the offshore wind sector, we must also understand that this can't come at the cost of the environment. We have a number of different programmes designed to examine and help mitigate risk to the environment. We have a plan-led approach to commercial offshore wind development in Scottish waters, and this is underpinned by sectoral marine planning that identifies preferred, sustainable, spatial options for development in the sectoral marine plan for offshore wind energy. An updated plan is due to be adopted in spring 2025, and as part of updating that plan, we're assessing the environmental and socio-economic impacts from offshore wind development and exploring potential plan level and project level mitigation measures to address these. Additionally, work is underway in a Joint Environmental Accelerator Work Programme, or JEEP, to address the potential adverse effects of offshore wind projects and guide nature-positive development. We're also investing in addressing crucial data gaps in the consenting process through the Scottish Marine Energy Research Programme, or ScotMer for short. This is a Scottish Government research initiative which is improving our understanding of potential environmental impacts of offshore wind. We've allocated up to £3.2 million this year for the ScotMer programme, and it's unique globally, operating at the forefront of research into the interactions between offshore renewable energy and the marine environment, making Scotland a world leader in this. This year we held our 4th ScotMer Symposium with attendees from over 30 countries, including Australia. Our work in this area highlights that we understand that we cannot progress offshore wind at the cost of the environment, and we're seeking to be truly world-leading in our planning and consenting process. Scotland is also at the forefront of development and deployment of new offshore wind technologies. We're home to Hywind Scotland, the world's first floating wind farm, with an installed capacity of 30 megawatts. Each year since Hywind Scotland started production, it's achieved the highest average capacity factor of all UK offshore wind farms, proving that floating projects in our North Sea waters can operate with excellent efficiency. We continue to lead in floating offshore wind with the opening of the Floating Wind Innovation Centre in Aberdeen in March. This is the UK's first innovation centre that's focused purely on the development of floating offshore wind technology. And in April, we also approved consents for the Greenvolt and Pentland floating offshore wind projects. Greenvolt, which is part of our INTOG leasing round, has a stated capacity of 560 megawatts. And this means that once it's operational, it will be one of the largest floating offshore wind farms in Europe. Many of the developers responsible for these projects, as well as ScotWind floating developments, will also no doubt be looking at the Australian market. And my hope is that the lessons learned in Scotland can also be applied in Australian waters to further benefit the development of this exciting and innovative technology. Of course, we recognise the importance that the supply chain will play in making our floating and fixed offshore wind ambitions a reality. That's why we've committed up to investing £500 million over the next 5 years to anchor our offshore wind supply chain in Scotland. This investment will support market certainty, will leverage private investment and help us build a competitive, productive economy. Crucially, it illustrates our confidence in the sector. Recent announcements, such as the £100 million joint investment by the Scottish National Investment Bank and UK Infrastructure Bank for development of Ardersier Port, and the groundbreaking ceremony for Sumitomo's £350 million subsea cable factory in the Highlands, are significant milestones. These announcements demonstrate that we're now beginning to see major infrastructure and manufacturing for offshore wind projects right here on Scottish soil. And we're at the start of a new era. The importance of our supply chain companies to maximising the economic potential of our energy transition cannot be overstated. And that's why I enjoy taking the opportunity to visit their sites whenever I can, to learn about their work directly from the experts themselves. And I'd like to extend that invitation for you to come and learn from our experts too. People form an integral part of the supply chain. For many years before entering politics, I worked alongside the oil and gas industry, and I know just how much talent and experience the sector has to offer. And I'm passionate about a just transition for our hugely skilled and dedicated workers who are ideally placed to apply their skills to renewables, particularly to floating offshore wind. It's widely accepted that offshore wind represents a significant opportunity to create thousands of jobs, and we'll do everything in our power to ensure that our existing, skilled offshore energy workforce benefits from our offshore wind deployment. Creating a just transition is just one of our top priorities for the Scottish Government, and like Scotland, Australia will need to look towards opportunities in a net zero economy to support transition of workers away from fossil fuels and into green jobs. We're keen to work across borders to find ways to support each other in that goal. Thank you very much for providing me with the opportunity to talk about the wind sector in Scotland. I hope you found this a helpful overview, and I would like to emphasise again that our door is open to further knowledge sharing and collaboration. Even though Scotland and Australia are geographically far away, separated with just under 9,500 miles of land and sea, we can learn from each other and move towards a greener future together. I wish you all the best of luck for the remainder of the conference. Thank you.